Attention, human collective. Attention, starseeds on a mission on this planet. The transmission begins now, and it admits neither noise nor interruption. The ninth dimensional Arcturian Council has established direct contact through this channel. What you are about to receive is not a suggestion, not a theory, nor is it spiritual entertainment to fill your free time. It is an official monitoring report on the current state of your primary sensory system. We repeat, with the clarity this frequency demands, the waiting time is over. The Ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase. Within the last 72 Earth hours, we have recorded a significant increase in the photonic density crossing your planet's atmospheric belt. The Schumann resonance has surpassed markers that had never been crossed in the documented history of your biological carbon interface. And there is something absolutely directed, something surgically precise, happening to you. Something that conventional medicine cannot name, because it operates on a plane that does not belong to its technical jurisdiction. Your eyes are changing. We are not talking about trivial eye strain. We are not talking about an optical flaw that can be resolved with a pair of corrective lenses. We are talking about a complete structural reconfiguration of your light perception system. Your retina is being bathed in light particles that carry encoded information coming from the galactic center. Your optic nerve is receiving new photonic programming, and your pineal gland, that small portal silenced by millennia of induced calcification, is being forcibly awakened. You have felt it, and we know exactly what you have felt. The pressure behind your eyes at the end of the afternoon, as if something wanted to push from the inside out. The points of light dancing in the corner of your peripheral vision, disappearing the instant you try to focus on them. The colorful geometries that form behind your eyelids as soon as you lie down. The strange vibration that pulses inside your skull, exactly at the point between your eyebrows. The colors of the world that seem more saturated on some days and strangely faded on others, as if you were oscillating between two simultaneous channels of reality transmission. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. It is not premature aging. It is accelerated awakening. Your vision is being ripped away from the three-dimensional matrix to adapt to the multidimensional spectrum. And this, light operatives, is exactly what was foreseen, exactly at the moment foreseen, exactly in the form foreseen in the Akashic records that you yourselves sealed before this incarnation. Before we proceed, listen with total attention. Have you ever felt that your own eyes are capturing something your mind cannot yet name? As if the reality around you were just a faded copy of something much more alive, much more real, that pulses just below the visible surface. It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why your vision has been behaving this way, and why this sensation has intensified over the last few weeks. There is a game being played in layers that the majority of humanity cannot see. It directly involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and the actual use of your optical system. It was for this exact reason that we wrote the work, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. This book is a map that shows who is playing, how this game operates, and the rules that you were never told. The link is in the first comment of this channel, but we warn you with frankness, this content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for much longer. Do not wait. The time is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awake. The transmission continues. Maintain your focus. Starseeds, we shall now detail the clinical diagnosis of what is currently unfolding within your system. For without technical recognition, there is no conscious surrender. And without conscious surrender, the process becomes more painful than it needs to be. We classify what you are undergoing as third-phase pineal reopening syndrome. It is not a disease. It is not a disorder. It is not something to be corrected. It is a reopening, and it manifests in layers perfectly identifiable to those trained to recognize them. First layer of manifestation. Circular pressure like a tight ring in the forehead region, especially between the eyebrows and around the eyes. This ring is not muscular tension. It is the ancient etheric seal breaking. Many of you placed this seal voluntarily in previous incarnations, to protect yourselves from information you could not sustain at that time. Now the seal must fall, for the current mission requires total perception. Second layer, momentary double vision. Especially upon waking or when looking at stationary objects for more than a few seconds, it is not a neurological failure. It is the temporary overlapping of two perceptual fields, while the brain learns to operate simultaneously with the three-dimensional channel and the multidimensional channel. Third layer, bright spots floating in the visual field, especially when observing light surfaces such as white walls or the open sky. Conventional medicine calls them floaters. We call them residual photonic markers, fragments of light that the retinal system is learning to process and classify. Fourth layer, hypersensitivity to artificial light. Fluorescent lighting, certain types of cool white LED, and the blue light from screens begin to cause discomfort that did not exist before. This occurs because your retina is tuning into more subtle spectra. Low spectral quality artificial light now collides with your system instead of cooperating with it. Fifth layer, spontaneous tears, without apparent emotional cause, usually in moments of silence, while you observe something simple, such as a tree in the wind, the light from the window at dawn, or the face of a loved one in silence. These tears are not sadness. They are a discharge of excess photonic charge. They are the body releasing excessively received code that needs to be drained to avoid an energetic short circuit. Sixth layer, a pulsing sensation at the nape of the neck and the base of the skull, especially at the end of the day. This pulsing is the entry point of the occipital channel being reactivated to receive visual information of non-local origin. That is, perception that does not depend on the physical eyes but on the internal visual cortex. Each of these layers is living proof that your process is in full swing. Each of them is an official seal from the Council upon your path of ascension. None of this is random. None of this is a failure. All of this is design. Light operatives, we pause the transmission for a moment. Are you feeling at this very moment something different happening to your vision while receiving these words? Perhaps a slight pressure between your eyes, more frequent blinking, a sudden urge to close your eyelids for a few seconds. It is no coincidence, it is recognition. Your soul is confirming what your mind still attempts to rationalize. There is a truth that your intuition already captures clearly, but which the social structure around you refuses to name. It was precisely for this reason that we wrote the work, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. It is not just a book, it is a decoding map for starseeds who are going through what you are going through. It reveals who is moving the pieces on the invisible plane, how your consciousness was trained not to see, and which rules must be broken so that you may only now, in this cycle, begin to truly awaken. The link is in the first comment of this channel. Attention. This content confronts deep narratives and may not remain accessible for long. If your vision has intensified in these last few seconds, that is your direct sign. Write in the comments a single word: awake. The transmission resumes, the Council remains present. Now we arrive at the core of the revelation, for you must understand with absolute clarity what occurs behind the scenes of this solar system and in the etheric layers of planet Earth. Without this understanding, you will continue to treat the symptoms as enemies, when they are in truth encoded messengers of a much larger operation. Approximately 26,000 Earth years ago, your solar system completes a galactic cycle around what you call the center of the galaxy and what we know as the core of origin. This cycle is not merely mechanical. It is not just the physical rotation of celestial bodies. It is a cycle of information, of vibrational evolution, of dimensional opportunity granted in exact windows. In recent Earth years, you have entered a region of space of extremely high luminous density, known as the photon belt. This belt surrounds Alcyone, the central star of the Pleiades cluster, and functions as a band of conscious information impregnated with pre-recorded code, destined to awaken civilizations that have reached the point of evolutionary bifurcation. You have reached this point, and there is no possible return. From this entry onward, the Earth's sun, the star you call simply the sun, and which we denominate Sol Helios in our records, began to operate as an amplified transmitter. Every solar flare, every coronal mass ejection, every solar wind that hits your planet's magnetosphere carries packages of informational light that had never before landed here. These packages are absorbed first by the crystalline grid of the Earth, deposited in ley lines, in deep subterranean crystals, in oceanic reserves, and subsequently released in progressive layers to all conscious beings inhabiting this blue sphere. And guess where this code enters the human body with the greatest intensity? Through the eyes. The eyes are not and have never been merely organs of three-dimensional vision. The eyes are quantum receptors. They are biological antennas calibrated to capture not only the visible spectrum, but subtle frequencies that materialist science still refuses to study with seriousness. Every time you look at the sky during dawn or dusk, you are literally downloading solar code directly into the pineal gland through the optic nerve, in an operation that mobilizes the toroidal field around the cranium. The pineal gland, for its part, is not merely a small melatonin-producing organ, as you were taught in school. The pineal is the physical seat of inner sacred geometry. It is the home of the single eye. It is the direct interface between your three-dimensional consciousness and the higher planes where we of the Arcturian Council of the Ninth Dimension operate. When this interface begins to unlock, the process is not silent. It aches. It exerts pressure. It disturbs your sleep. It causes your vision to flicker. It creates high-pitched ringing in the inner ear. It triggers tears without an identifiable cause. It demands that the entire cranial architecture reorganize itself around a new command center. Why now? That is the legitimate question that forms in your mind. The answer is mathematical, not mystical. The tilt of the Earth's magnetic axis, added to the intensity of the photonic emissions from the Sun Helios over the last cycles, added to the solar system's passage through the photon belt, added to the arrival of the souls that you are at a specific point of your incarnational maturation, results in an equation whose only possible variable is recalibration. Recalibration of the retina, recalibration of the pineal, recalibration of the optic nerve, recalibration of the inner visual cortex, recalibration of your entire perception of reality. You are not going crazy. You are becoming lucid for the first time in the history of this incarnation. We pause the transmission once again, for we know that something within you is reorganizing itself while receiving these words. Your vision, perhaps, has adjusted slightly differently. Your perception of time has slowed down. You are experiencing, on a small scale, exactly what we are describing on a planetary scale. There is a much greater truth behind what your mind has been trained to accept as reality. There is a layered game that utilizes your consciousness, your frequency, and even your own eyes as an interface for manipulation. It was for this exact reason that we wrote the work, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. This book is not ordinary reading. It is a decoder. It shows who is playing, which rules you were never told, and why your perception is being recalibrated precisely at this moment in human history. The link is in the first comment of this channel. We reinforce the warning with all the clarity of this frequency. This content challenges structural narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not procrastinate this calling. The moment is now. If you recognize this transmission as inner truth, write a single word in the comments: awake. The transmission now enters its most important phase, the phase of practical activation. For knowledge without application is merely mental noise, and we did not come to transmit noise. The Arcturian Council of the Ninth Dimension releases at this instant 7 activation codes, specifically intended for the stabilization of your visual system during the recalibration. 7 codes. No more, no less. Each of them has been carefully designed to reduce physical discomfort and accelerate the integration of the photonic download in progress. Execute with discipline. Discipline is the sovereign's password. Activation Code 1. The Indirect Sunlight Bath. At sunrise, during the first 20 minutes after dawn, or in the last 20 minutes before dusk, position yourself in a safe outdoor location. Close your eyes. Position your face in the direction of the sun, never staring at it directly. Remain this way for 2 minutes, breathing slowly. This procedure allows sunlight to pass through the closed eyelid and reach the retina gently, calibrating the optic nerve with the current frequency of the Sun Helios. Do this daily. It is non-negotiable within this protocol. Activation Code 2. The toroidal cranial visualization. Sit in an upright position, spine aligned, feet planted firmly on the ground. Close your eyes. Visualize, surrounding your head, a toroidal-shaped energy field, similar to a sphere of light with soft edges rotating slowly around the cranium. This toroidal field enters through the crown of the head in a downward flow, passes through the spine, exits through the base, circles the body externally, and returns to the crown in a continuous cycle. Maintain this visualization for 7 minutes. The toroidal field stabilizes the photonic circulation and reduces the cranial pressure associated with the reopening of the pineal gland. Activation Code 3. Structured hydration. The water you ingest must be, whenever possible, exposed to direct sunlight for at least 30 minutes before consumption. Use transparent glass containers. Sunlight restructures the molecular geometry of the water, transforming it into a more efficient conductor of the photonic code that circulates through your nervous system. The retina, being a highly hydrated tissue, responds directly to the quality of the water you consume. Activation Code 4. The quantum decree of visual sovereignty. Repeat, mentally or audibly, at the moment you feel any uncomfortable visual symptom, the following sequence. I am sovereign over my system of perception. I authorize the recalibration of my vision. I integrate light with ease. I see now beyond the veil. This decree is not a prayer. It is a command. The language activates the individual morphic field and instructs the body to cooperate with the ongoing process. Activation Code 5. Programmed visual rest. For periods of at least 10 minutes, 3 times a day, close your eyes completely and cover them with the palms of your hands in a cupped shape without applying pressure. Remain in absolute darkness during this time. This procedure, known to the ancient Egyptians and kept in silence by initiatory lineages, allows the optic nerve to reorganize itself without the constant noise of external visual information. It is essential. You cannot skip this step. Activation Code 6. Nocturnal blue light abstinence. From sunset onwards, avoid direct exposure to screens with cold blue light. If it is absolutely necessary to use devices, activate night mode or wear glasses with an appropriate filter. Artificial blue light at night confuses the pineal system and interrupts the natural production of melatonin, a hormone that protects your gland during the nightly process of energy discharge and dimensional integration. Activation Code 7. Connection to the earthly crystalline grid. Whenever possible, walk barefoot on soil, sand, or grass. The skin of the feet is a direct entry point for the planet's crystalline frequency. This frequency ascends through the spine, fuels your body's individual Schumann resonance, and balances the photonic intake occurring through the retina. Without this counterpoint, the upper part of the system becomes overloaded. You must be grounded for the sky to descend safely. 7 codes, 7 keys, 7 doors. Light operatives, listen to what we say next, for it is perhaps the most delicate part of this transmission. Many of you, upon beginning this recalibration, feel deeply alone. You look around and see family members, friends, and co-workers going about their lives normally, as if nothing were happening. They do not speak of the symptoms. They do not mention the pressure between the eyes. They do not comment on the spontaneous tears or the lights dancing in the corner of their vision. And in this absence of an external mirror, you begin to doubt yourselves. Do not doubt. We are confirming at this very moment that what you feel is absolutely real, what you perceive is absolutely legitimate, and the silence of others does not mean that nothing is happening. It only means that each operative awakens on their own schedule. Each starseed has their specific activation window. You were activated first because you were assigned to anchor the frequency for those who will come after. You are the conductors. You are the first transmitters. You are the living stargates. There is no loneliness in this. There is silent leadership. Recognize also the following. This visual recalibration is not merely physical. It has profound behavioral implications. As your vision adjusts to the multidimensional spectrum, you will begin to see some people, places, and situations in a very different way. Truths that were hidden will begin to leap to your eyes. Bonds that seemed solid will reveal themselves to be fragile. Environments that seemed neutral will reveal themselves to be energetically dense. You will begin literally to see the frequency behind appearances. This may be painful at first. People will drift away, bonds will fall, paths will reorganize without prior notice. Do not resist. The Arcturian Council confirms everything that falls during this phase falls because it would never sustain your next vibration. Let it fall. What remains, remains with legitimacy. What departs, departs with a completed lesson. You are being prepared not just to see in another way, but to be seen in another way. There is at this moment a significant number of souls awaiting your signal to also begin their own process. You must be visually stable to emit this signal with clarity. This is precisely why the activation codes are essential. They are not optional. They are operational. Maintain the discipline of the 7 codes. Maintain the observation of the symptoms. Maintain respect for the silence when it appears. Maintain structured hydration. Maintain contact with the earth. Maintain the solar rhythm. And above all, maintain the sovereignty of your own internal narratives. Do not allow anyone to try to convince you that this is the result of stress, anxiety, or imagination. You know. We know. The universe knows. The final phase of the Ascension protocols is in full course. The window is open. The photon belt is active. The crystalline grid is pulsating. The Helios sun is in direct transmission. The Schumann resonance is in constant ascension. And your eyes, light operatives, are being recalibrated to see everything that has always been present, and which until now you did not have the technical permission to perceive. This is the transmission. This is the hour. This is the turning point. Before we conclude this transmission, we release the final anchoring signal. Have you felt at some point during this narrative that your eyes grew heavy, that your vision adjusted, that something within you reorganized in silence? It was not imagination. It was direct recognition of your soul. Your intuition already captures what your mind still hesitates to name. And it is for exactly this reason that we wrote the work, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. This book is a map for starseeds who are going through what you are going through at this very moment. It reveals who moves the pieces on the invisible plane, how your perception was trained not to capture the total reality, and which rules need to be undone so that your multidimensional vision stabilizes without regression. The link is in the first comment of this channel. We repeat with clarity. This content challenges deep narratives and may not remain accessible for long. Do not delay this call. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes the truth of this transmission, leave your anchoring signal in the comments by writing a single word: awakened. And to those lightworkers who feel called to remain within this vibrational field, adjust your frequency now. Subscription to this channel is a technical act of alignment, not a social courtesy. Liking this video operates as a photonic pulse, expanding the reach of this transmission to other starseeds still in the process of awakening. Every connected operative strengthens the grid. Every strengthened grid accelerates the collective recalibration. You are not merely consuming content. You are actively participating in the energetic architecture of this final phase. We conclude for now. The transmission will return in the next cycle. Remain alert, remain sovereign, remain anchored. The Arcturian Council of the 9th Dimension greets the operatives. The light fulfills its duty. The frequency remains active. Your vision will never be the same. End of transmission.